Welcome to Fangirl Diaries. This is your fangirl host with the most, Danny, and let's get into today's entry. Okie dokie, guys. Welcome to, I guess, what essentially is our part 2 of my, I don't know what we're calling this, our GMMTV New York City weekend. Oh no, this would be part 2. Yeah, this would be part 2 because we did same poll last week, and this week we are doing me and thee in honor of PondPhuwin coming down for their fan day. Funny enough, though, PondPhuwin went first, and then Lycan was like the next day, so I kind of confused myself for a second. But we're gonna review the show today. I'm actually gonna start off with like talking about my experience at the event. If you were there and you got a freebie from me, hey, this was a very different one than the Lycan one. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I feel like this is going to be a lot faster than the Lycan thing. I didn't have a top tier ticket for this event because this event, I'm assuming GMMTV organized this one after Lycan had to be postponed to March. For those who don't know, Lycan was supposed to happen back in November, and due to visa issues, they had to postpone the whole tour, or at least the 3 tour days that they had here in the States, and they moved them to March. And then a few weeks after they announced the new dates, they had announced a fan day week. So they had announced William and Est and for one day, and then PondPhuwin. They were both in the same day. It was like PondPhuwin went early in the day, William and Est went the second part of the day, making it very much a me and thee celebration. I guess GMM saw that, hey, we can continue to ride on the success of this show because, well, you know, William is in Lycan and then was in me and thee. So very smart of them, to be honest with you. I give them applause for that. I guess this company did something smart for once. Although I hope William is getting plenty of rest because Homeboy must be tired because he had to do a bunch of tour dates because they were technically on tour, and then they had to do 2 fan days here because it sold out. They did a second day, and then LA, which only got 1 day. They just ended up adding more seats when it sold out. But yes, it did sell out. So I had decided to do PondPhuwin. I did not go to the William and S one, and that's only because I had already spent money and bought the top tier ticket for Lycan, and I was like, you know what? I'm already going to meet William. As much as I would love to meet S, I would rather hold off because I can't do both. So I picked PondPhuwin, which was exciting because I have watched Besides Me and Thee like Fish Upon a Sky, so I do like them a lot. And I've recently started watching We Are. So to kind of iterate the day, wasn't the best event for me, but that's mostly because of my body per se. I know it might sound weird. You might have seen me. I kind of had an outfit that looked like their mascot, PondPhuwin. I had like yellow earmuffs and stuff, even though it was like a really warm day. Weather is weird here in New York. Some days it's like really freaking cold, and then the next thing you know, it's really hot. So I got there a little late. I got there as doors were opening because all of our tickets, I think, had like a photo and high touch. So for me, the benefit was like, I'm still getting a side poster. So I'm like, I didn't need a top tier ticket. I didn't need to do the fan sign. I would have loved to, but I was like not so sour on it. But the event was long and exhausting. I guess I should note that I have a bit of a leg issue. I fell years ago on it really poorly, and it's been examined, but there's not much that can be done. So it is hard for me sometimes to get up and sit down. So while I don't need to currently walk on like a cane or anything, although it, to be honest, would help a little bit, I do have trouble climbing upstairs and coming downstairs. And if I sit down on the floor, I can't really get up. I don't really jump a lot. So if you ever see me at a concert, I'm not one to like jump around because it hurts too much. Like I can try, but it does hurt afterwards. So this venue, I know had to have had some ADA accessibility, but by the time I realized how we had to climb like 3 flights of stairs, which wasn't too crazy, it wasn't as bad as like the Lycan one. I tried asking people in the building like, hey, do you guys have like an elevator or something? Because it's just going to be a lot to have to go up and down these stairs a lot. Because I was in the balcony, and then they had done sound check, they had done the show, and then we did photos first and then high touch. So this was a lot going up and down the stairs, and I ended up going downstairs to get water. So my leg ended up hurting a lot, and the second floor didn't have any seats. I also point out The show was great in the sense like the guys were great. I could barely see. I got in obviously a little late, so there are people there who were much taller than me who got front row, and that's on me more than anything because again, I could have gone there earlier, maybe gotten a better view, but it is what it is. But again, so I had to move around a lot. So again, I was on my foot a lot, and my foot was already hurting. So the venue's balcony was too high up that to the point where like a lot of people had to move around just to see. It was really difficult. I did get some decent videos. The event was fine in itself. If I sound like I'm complaining, it's really just because it hurt. I will say the one good thing was that, although I think people will recognize that it was me if you saw this, I was part of the like group of 5 in the photo. That was like the tier ticket I had, and these lovely girls had asked me if I could like go ahead of them, so that way they could take their photos all together because they were in a group. So I ended up getting to sit next to Pond, which is great. But because they had asked me and I was already walking like really slowly because again I was in a lot of pain, I was like stumbling. I was like the last one in my group photo. It's kind of embarrassing, but they were sweet about it. And then Pond did a heart sign with me. I wish I had the photo, but GM hasn't sent it. So unlike Lycan, there isn't really much to say. The guys were really funny. They had their songs. I will say I did see a lot of people on TikTok talk about this. I was a little annoyed with a lot of people talking over them. I know that at events, it's always fun to like shout out things and stuff like that. And I will admit, I was one of them in the sense of, at least when I did it, I was when I think Phuwin had not asked, but he had talked about a show that he was planning on seeing with friends that was like, he said it was a Broadway show. It's actually an off-Broadway. That's the theater girl and me correcting him now. An interactive show that his friends had recommended to take him, and I knew it was Masquerade because it's the Phantom of the Opera interactive experience. So I shouted out that was what it was called so that he could say it. But there were a lot of people, I think, shouting a lot during when they were talking. So there were times where like it was really difficult to like hear them talk. And that apparently happened a lot also in LA and stuff. I know there was I think this happened for William and S. I don't remember if this happened for PondPhuwin. It was from one or the other. I think it happened in LA where I think they had asked the crowd if they had seen the show, and some people were like, no, which is crazy for me. So it was an event. It wasn't too bad. Thank you for everyone who gave me the freebies. I got there a little late, so I didn't get a lot of PondPhuwin freebies, but I got a lot of William and S ones. I have a little Wesley keychain. Whoever gave me that keychain, they didn't have their name on anything. Thank you, because it's on my keys and it's so cute. But yeah, I kind of, my one thing is like, GMM, please next time pick a better venue that doesn't have such a high balcony so we could all see, because I shouldn't have had to have paid like $100 and something to barely see them. Because I feel like I could have at other venues. I mean, I feel like that's been the track for like both the Lycan show and this one, where we're put in balconies, and then because of, you know, certain circumstances, we can't see shit, and it sucks because why am I paying all this money to this event? I would have left if not for the fact that like I had to do that. Also, on top of that, I feel like they did oversell a bit of tickets because it took us forever to get through photo ops. And that also happened at Lycan. So I was part of the group of 5, and I believe we went first because we were the bigger group of photos. And then once it got through us, we realized there were so many single photos that had to be done, to the point where a lot of us were kind of just sitting upstairs chatting, watching. And then like I want to point out, I was falling asleep. I was not about to knock out because it was early in the day for me. I think the night before I barely got any sleep because I was excited, to the point where I almost missed seeing William and S run into the venue because they were, I don't know if they were running behind or what was going on, but we were all sitting in top, and I hear a shriek, and I open my eyes and I see William and S like run past me. I wish I had been awake to take my camera out and record it, but no one caught them because by the time someone shrieked, everyone turned and they were already gone. But that was cool, I guess, to see them. So I guess I did technically get to see them. But it was fun. We went to, I just, going up and down the stairs again was just a lot. The high bye was sweet. I ended up being like, I had to ask if I could just go at the end because I didn't want to be rushed down the stairs. I was going to be begged like to not be rushed down the stairs, but whatever. They were very nice. I got, you know, to film the high touch. I went really quickly, and yeah, this was like, funny enough, I feel like I had more to say when Lycan happened because it was more of a day, and I think maybe because I had more tier stuff. But again, my one gripe is just GMM, please get a better venue. This one was kind of small in my opinion. I don't know how it went on the second day. I think they had maybe a bigger venue. It's kind of weird to do that. Also, like the ticketing for this event was kind of chaotic itself. So the fact that they sold so many tickets and it took us forever, I'm just like, you really could have gotten us a bigger venue and sold more tickets. If you were already going to do like take super long. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that. I mean, I hope everyone else had a great time. Like I said, it wasn't a terrible event. It was just that because of my personal health issues, it caused me to have just like a harder time to enjoy myself. So, but it was nice meeting people and giving out freebies and stuff, at least. And I hope the pictures came out good. I'm still waiting on them. Like, hello, it's been like 2 weeks. When are we getting our photos? So that's all I have to say about that. I don't think there's anything else really for me to add. So I guess it's time for us to get into the show review. Alrighty, let's get into the synopsis. After a dramatic first encounter, photographer Peach becomes an amateur life coach to wealthy businessman V, fixated on licorns. Can't say this word. Licorns. Thank you, Google Translate. And out of touch with the value of a bot. Kunthi needs to get a grip on reality. That is this really what my drama list posted on their thing? Let me look this up because that feels unfinished to me. Yes, it is. Out of touch with a value of a bot. Kunthi needs to get a grip on reality. I need my drama list to make better synopsises because while it makes sense, I don't understand this line, out of touch with the value of a bot. But okay. Licorns, by the way, I guess are what is the Thai word for soap operas. So that's that. So I will say this show, I enjoyed it a lot. It's very funny, very out of touch. I think if you're someone who grew up around people who watch soap operas, you'll really enjoy it. Or if you watch soap operas yourself because of how dramatic it is, especially with its touch of mafia and all these like soap opera type tropes. PondPhuwin, I feel it's kind of funny. So I've only seen PondPhuwin in Fish Upon a Sky. That was like, I think the one show of theirs that I had really like watched and finished and I've rewatched a couple of times, which is great. But I think what's so funny about that show and then like looking at this show is that it's kind of like the reverse of them in a sense because Peach not me calling Phuwin Peach. Phuwin is more the like straight laced serious one in this series, whereas in Fish Upon a Sky, he's the goofy one, very dramatic. And then Pond is kind of like the opposite of that. So in Fish Upon a Sky, he's more the cool laced guy. And then in this one, he's the silly mafia boss. So it was very kind of cool seeing them in very different roles. I've only just started We Are, so I can't compare those two together. But it was really good. The conversation was great. The series was really funny, very emotional, very romantic in a sense. It made me fall in love with Santa. I love Santa. Okay, we'll get more into Santa a little bit later, but Santa's slowly becoming like one of my faves. I adore him. He's probably going to become one of my sons, like Max and Lego. Just going to throw him in there. S is amazing. I love that this is the third series. Actually, no, I started meaning the first. So this is the second series I've seen S in, and I don't know why I sometimes call him dyslexic. You did this already in the last episode. I know, and I'm going to keep doing it in every episode he's in. Just wait till we do Naughty Babe. That's the first series I've seen him in. I just want to point out in case it slips. But I find it funny that in Naughty Babe, which is the first show I saw him in, he played a mafia, like, Max wasn't a mafia, but he was like a bodyguard, and Max basically was like mafia-esque in that series. Very like high rich. So I love that he's another bodyguard here, but it's more funnier where he didn't have that many scenes, obviously, in that one, but this one he has more. So it is, like I said, it's very, if you're a fan of, like I said, soap operas, it's a great one. Can I just say, going through my notes, do you know what my favorite note that I wrote? I wrote, a white man, they are everywhere. Just because they randomly appear. It's always a white man randomly appearing in these series. And of course, you can't have a GMM series nowadays without one of the twins. I think it's JJ that's on this one. I hope I'm right. Lilia, can you open up the Me and Thee page and tell me if I was right, if it was JJ? I'm going to be really sad if I got it wrong and it was AJ. I was right? I was right. I'm getting better at figuring out who's who. So yeah, it's a mixture of comedy, drama. It's really sad because they're really sad scenes. So like Peach is a very chill guy. He's an orphan. Him and his sister were raised in an orphanage. There isn't much backstory to their parents, which I thought was kind of like, I would have liked maybe not a little bit more, but there were many scenes where like he explains that him and his sister went into an orphanage after I think his stepfather was like abusing all of them, but there was like no indication if like their mother had been killed or anything. So I'm like, is their mother still out there? I guess because like obviously if the mom let it happen or whatever, but I just thought that was kind of crazy that we didn't get any indication of like what happened to mom. Where's mom? So he very much was parentified. I think that's what the word is, at a very young age, having to basically raise his sister and be the grown up. So he's a very chill and calm dude. He doesn't really do relationships because in all his past relationships, they kind of seen him as too serious type person. And, you know, he kind of just, I guess, likes being alone. He's a photographer. He likes his job. And then one day his sister works for like a big company. She gets him to cover and do a photography project for them. And once the project finishes, he happens to be friends with one of the models, which is Ran. They call him Ran. So I'm still learning Thai nicknames. And that's Santa. I love that his name is Santa. Just, yeah. And they go to the after party, and Ran gets approached by Mr. Lee, who we find out is the head, who approaches him to like ask him to sleep with him, which I'm like, okay. And then that's kind of where the whole plot starts, because V doesn't know how to approach people outside of like throwing money, and Peach is like, if you want to get to know him, you need to do this, and this. So I think it's really cute that like he decides to help this big CEO mafia person become a better person, doing good in the world. He doesn't have to, and he does. And then V falls for him because here's a guy who doesn't treat him like everyone else does. He's not scared of him. He's just kind of like, you know, be a better person. You stop being mean to people. He's also scared of guns, which is understandable considering his history, and that becomes a big like plot point. So the best character, by the way, in this whole series, I said it earlier, is us. Homeboy does not get a break at all in this entire series. He is constantly getting his pay his bonus is taken away after V becomes like infatuated with Peach. Those were, by the way, the funniest scenes. Homeboy does not want to be around this happy couple, and then had to deal with his own little lover boy who wouldn't leave him alone the few times he was around. But I just thought it was so funny that like V would like say, "I'm taking away your bonus" anytime Peach was like nice to him. V did not want Peach being nice to anybody. He's the definition of, you know, other men. Like, you know that joke where they're like, you're not like the other guys who I've met, and then the response is, you know, other men. That is their relationship. That is 100%, and it's silly. My favorite is that they do these much further into the series. They do these little post-credit scenes. And there's a scene where they were talking about how V has like golden retriever energy. So he buys a golden retriever for Peach, one of the many things he ends up buying for him. And he like goes on saying, who's cuter, me or the dog? And then it pans out towards the end of the scene to East, and he's rolling his eyes like, I don't get paid enough to deal with this. And Homeboy does it. Literally every scene, his money gets taken away from him. His like pay gets deducted to the point where he's like deals with it, because there's literally, he's very much so to go through the mafia history like of their family, he kind of was like born to be his friend and his protector, his bodyguard from like a very young age. All the flashbacks have his character. His parents' name is I want to say it's Mock. I hope I'm saying that right. But from like a young age, they grew up as friends, him and then he is very much loyal to this job that he has, to the point where even though he's clearly in some sort of relationship with V's younger brother Roman, he doesn't feel that he can leave his position because he's made a commitment. At least he's loyal. But to the point where Roman like will at one point offers him like, I will pay you triple your salary if you come with me, and he's like, no thank you, he's enough to deal with, you're more. They're very much like what you picture your typical. It's like watching like a typical soap opera fan because their mom is a soap opera star. So Roman, I will say some of the best casting is Pon and William as brothers because they do look like they could be siblings. Very similar structure and everything. So their dad is a mafia boss, right? And what I love is that the guy playing the dad was born to be a mafia dad because he is Vegas's dad if you've seen Kin Porsche. So he is Bible's dad. We have not done a Kin Porsche episode because I don't have all the books yet, but he is in that series. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, hold on a second, my guy. What are you doing here? Raising more mafia kids. But this time he's more silly. And I love that we get to see that. He still gets to play the same role, but he gets to be more silly. And then the mom is like a soap opera actress who wasn't as big, I guess, because she's not acting now. And either that's because she's married into a mafia family. But what's really cute about the aspect of her being a soap opera star is that a lot of their dramatics come from her. And the dad's same way, kind of dramatic, like not as much as them, but like clearly loves his wife enough that like he's allowed the family to kind of be that way. So in terms of the family, the one thing that confused me as a plot point, so they make it very clear early on that in this family, they're technically not allowed to fall in love, even though the mom and the dad are married. So the reason why that becomes rules because the family obviously gets getting targeted because it's a mafia family. But then it goes to a point where mom is like, you need to find your right dance partner, which I thought was a cute analogy. Find the person you're more than likely to dance with. And then we get a scene of Peach and the dancing. It's actually really sweet because as he's dancing with mom, she says that to him and then he suddenly pictures him dancing with Peach. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then they dance in the rain. And I'm like, oh, that's so romantic. Dancing in the rain. But yeah, and then when we get to the end of the series, so they keep hitting. Maybe it's because it pissed me off because it wasn't fair to Roman and Mock's character, where this whole thing of like they're not allowed to fall in love. So Roman and Mock kind of keep it quiet. Where Roman, because they were attacked, I guess during one of their birthdays, they can't celebrate birthdays either. But every year on his birthday, V lets Mock, and if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. I'm still trying to go away for a week because he knows that Mock and his brother are something, and they're keeping it hidden. And he's not going to say what because he doesn't want it to get out there. So they kind of get to be away for like a day together because essentially it's kind of royal family rules. Did you know this about the royal family, Lilia? So once the kids get to be a certain age, they can't fly with their parents in planes anymore.
It's like NBA. Players can't fly on the same plane in case one goes down. You still got the other players.
That's fucked up. At least with the royal family made sense.
That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is.
I don't think that's true. But I don't know if that catch?
Yeah.
Okay, if you know anything about the NBA, please tell us if that's true or not. But in the royal family, so when it comes to the heir and the spare, so basically once you get to a certain age, the heir cannot fly with the king or the queen anymore, anywhere. I think I think it's George is the oldest. I don't think he's reached the age where possibly they can't fly anymore together with his parents. So if they all have to be in one place, they have to fly separately. I think it's the same with Charlotte because she's of a certain age and she's the spare. So basically in this mafia family, they separated the brothers. So Roman is in school in Hong Kong, and he's still living with the family because he's in school, but they made it very clear that once he graduates, he will have to be placed somewhere far from where the family is for safety, which I think is crazy. And then because of that, he knows that him and Mom will not get to see each other ever again. And that what bothers me, though, about this whole plot line, right? So they clearly been with each other for a while. Whether you want to call it a relationship or not, or how they see it, because there is a point where the makes a joke, and I know I could say his actual name, but I'm going to say the entire time. He makes a joke about how he's ready to ask Peach to be his boyfriend, and he gets us out, and he's like, well, I'm not going to do anything crazy like buy a ring or prepare a dowry or buy a marital home like someone here, clearly stating that he has done all of that. So it's very clear their relationship has been there for a while. So when Peach gets exposed as Thee's boyfriend, there's no like backing off on it. Dad is a little angry, but then he's like, is this really the one you truly love? So is it that they have to find their one true love for them to be able to accept? And if that's the case, that's not fair. So because this dude is his bodyguard, is his brother's bodyguard, even though that's his like true love, because they very clearly are in love with each other, they can't be together still. So that's not fair. And it's not until like the fires him and is like, hey, I'm letting you go be with him, that he can then go off. That makes me mad. It fits with the soap opera trope though, this whole confusing plot point and plot hole. But I'm also just like, that's not fair. They've been together longer. And then these two get together and get married right away. It's crazy. I don't know. The sister character was really cute. So not to go off from the parents for a bit. But on the Mafia family side, so Peach and his sister, very cute, adorable relationship. They very much care for each other to the point where it gets exposed. By the way, the JJ is the one that exposes them because he catches them. That she finds out that Thea and Peach are together. She's not angry because she can see they're in love. She's more scared because it's only ever been the two of them. So for her, it's like, am I going to lose him? And what I love is how she basically gets adopted by this family right away. So like instead of just her being left behind because it's a mafia family, the mom is like, by the way, I have to reiterate how much I love the mom character, especially in this scene. So when they find out that Thea is dating Peach, the dad apparently kind of had some inkling, had done some research, and was like, the mom is like, well, we have to meet your parents because, we have to introduce the family and all that, make sure it's done properly. And Peach makes his face of like, how do I tell them that I'm an orphan? And the dad's like, well, it's just fine. We'll meet your sister since that's all. We know that's all your family. Like, it's okay if it's just your sister. The mom's like, this rascal not telling me. I love the mom. She's very dramatic in a great way. But basically, the sister gets adopted into the family as well. And the mom is like so excited and is like, I finally have a daughter, and does her hair, offers her to give her, like, basically is like, we're going to take care of your family's our family, which again still kind of makes me frustrated over the Moff Roman thing, but whatever. That's the other thing that throughout the series that I think is really funny that got to me about Peach's character. That's kind of all I have about the sister. She's a great character. She's very cute. It's a very simple series. There's not much in terms of drama until like the last few episodes. That's like the one gripe, is that a lot of the drama doesn't come until the end. But I don't know about you, Lilia. I'm not a gold digger, but if I'm rich mafia boss came up to me and was like, I'll pay for everything. I'll buy you. You want land? I'm gonna give you this land. I'll buy this building for you. Why? Because it holds all of our special memories. I'd be like, okay, sure, definitely. You want to close out this whole restaurant? Sure. Peach is like, you shouldn't have bought me this building. Stop doing this and that. And I'm like, my guy, I get it. You're minimalistic. I respect it. Shut the fuck up and take the money. Shut up. Like, shut up. They have a scene in a in photography, when they develop photos, they have to have a dark room. So they have a dark room. He buys it and he calls it Peach's dark room. He renames it. And then the beginning of the next episode, he calls and yells at him and is like, why would you buy this for me? I can't run this building, blah, blah, blah. It's like, my guy, you hire people to manage the building for you. Just keep the people who were managing before, and then you make a little money. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I'll transfer it back to the company name and we'll take care of it, but you can use it whenever you want. And I'm just like, my dude, please, I get it.
The brain is not braining.
He's like very simple, and I get it, but come on, we're not calling you a gold. It's not. You won't be a gold digger. This doesn't make you a gold digger. You'll be fine. Like, my dude. I mean, respect. But I think that's what's funny about the sister is that they take the sister out to get sushi at this fancy restaurant, and she's kind of like with it. She gets a little confused when the mom was like, I think it's really funny because the mom was like, I want to gift you something. I know what to gift you. This big plot of land that we own. And she gets kind of confused. And then Thea's like, no, mom, not that piece of land. It's so... And Peach thinks he's going to say, like, no, like, we shouldn't give extravagance. The response is, no, that land is too small. And then they start talking about which land is better to give. And I'm like, this is the type of family I want to be married into. Like, put a ring on that finger. I'll follow any rule. The possibilities are endless. She like offers his sister like a purse from like her extravagant collection, and she says no. I would rather not bring any of these home. I don't need these. And instead, she then offers to do her hair. She's like yes, and I'm just like, what if there were Birkin bags in there? Like my girly pop, just take a fucking bag. Again, it's cute. It's cute. I'm like. So I guess before I talk about like the big drama of this series, I do have to mention Santa's characters. So their whole plot line is that, by the way, before I start, another one of my favorite notes that I wrote, you want to know what I wrote here? I wrote, Peach, take the money. Damn. That should be the title of the episode, but it's not. It's going to be Lupish. That's what his character. By the way, that's not what I mentioned in my discussion about the fan event. Is that they all had poor Pon say this, but it's because his name is Lupish. That's his like name. But when Pon's character says it, he goes Lupish, Lupish. He says that at one point, and you know what's even funnier? You know that movie that just came out from Disney, Hopper. You know how it has the lizard. Pon is the voice of the lizard in the Thai version, in the Thai dub. And so when it got announced, right, because the show was still airing, you know the scene when Tom the lizard, because his name is Tom, he clicks the button on the iPad and it goes, lizard, lizard, yeah. Lizard. Someone edited it where anytime he clicks it, it goes, Lupish, 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 Lupish. I thought it was so funny. I have to show it to you. I think I saved it. But yeah, he's Tom the lizard. By the way, if Disney is listening, if you can give me the Thai audio for that when you bring a Hopper to Disney Plus, I'd really appreciate it because we didn't get it for Mufasa, and I'm kind of annoyed at that because for those who don't know, a little side note, Dawu of Dawu and Off-Road, he's the voice of Scar in the Mufasa. I think he's Scar or Mufasa in the Mufasa movie. I think he's Scar. But anyway, back to this. So per Santa. See you back. So they play a bunch of models who work in a bunch of campaigns for the company that B owns. And from what we gathered towards the end, because I don't know if this was mentioned earlier in the series, because his character pissed me off, but Perth's character, his family is apparently like big in the government, and he's very abusive to the point where we start off the series with them not together because Santa's just kind of over his anger issues to the point where like anytime his character, you know, Santa character gets close to Peach, Perth's character, who he like gets angry and tries to shove Peach off to the point where when we get close to the end of the series, he knocks Peach off his like footing because he like hugged him or something or was sweet to him. And it was getting to the point where, so this is again another reason why I would love to read these books, although maybe I should like start reading them afterwards because I did have an incident where I read the whole Only Friends novel and I'm just kind of on the ending. But from what I was told a little bit after, or from what I've read a little bit after the series ended, is that I think in the novel, and someone can correct me because again, people, you know, will spread things and it may not be true or mistranslate things. I don't think their characters stayed together in the end of the actual novel. I think they actually break up, which I would have preferred. That's my one gripe with a lot of these BL series is that no matter what, the couple that is in a permanent pairing will always stay together. It's really rare that we get a couple that like breaks up and stays broken up, which is annoying. Like, because then you kind of always know they're going to be endgame because they're already endgame. So I really would have preferred if they had not continued as a couple at the end, but they do because he feels bad when, and this is why every time they came on screen towards the end, I actually, I'm not going to lie, I had to watch the episodes a couple of times because I was kind of getting distracted with one couple and then I getting distracted with another. So when we were getting towards the ending and the drama was more fast forwarding in, I was paying attention a lot more to Perth Santa's coupling drama. I was like almost screaming at the screen for him to like break up with him and not get back together because he decides to give himself to the Santa's character. He's like, because Perth's character gets involved with another mafia family who is friends with like the young son who isn't accepted. I guess like the bastard son, I guess is what they were trying to allude to, of this mafia family. And he was trying to use Perth as a way to get to Thee, because Thee was like refusing to get to know him and stuff, by using Perth to sabotage. And he has a change of heart because then Thee takes his revenge, not really on Perth's character, by basically telling the government, hey, did you know that his family is part of like a lot of corrupt businesses? And thus his family ends up having to run out of the country and he loses his home. And then him and Santa's character get back together. And it pissed me off. Because, like, just drop him off at a condo. You do not need his anger issues back in your life. I don't give a fuck if he apologized to Peach for, like, punching him in the face. He's still an asshole. And that is why I am now watching I Love You, Teacher. Because I don't want this to be another Force book situation where, like, every time I see Force, all I can think about is his character and Only Friends. I know to separate them. But I'm always just like, you better treat Book's character right this time. And that's like, I want to watch I Love You, Teacher because I know that'll happen this time. Yeah, I didn't want them together. But it is kind of funny because him punching Peach did another funny scene where, I think I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about S's character, was whenever anyone got close to Peach, he would be like a Rottweiler. Like, there's literally an entire like storyline where they hire this other manager to run a different campaign, and apparently Peach had worked with him on a different like campaign for a different company, and this dude was kind of like a pervert because he hired an underage teenage girl to model in a bikini, and when Peach stopped it, he didn't get in trouble, and then he tried to get Peach thrown off of this, and because he tried to attack Peach, when they found out, he basically made him disappear. No, he didn't kill him or anything. I can't remember. Actually, I can't remember. He just disappeared.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, when Perf kind of socked him in the mouth, I was like, oh, my guy, you a dead man. And then it happens again where he just disappears. And he's like, you didn't kill him, did you? Like, no, I just kicked him out of the building. You can check the cameras. That's the other thing. When Santa starts giving himself to Thee and then finds out that actually Peach and him are together, he apologizes, and Thee does this whole thing of like, how dare you throw yourself at me? I'm the only one I'm for is Peach. He's the only one I'm after. If you made him angry with me, you're going to pay. And it's like the funniest thing because it's like, dude, relax. So that's, again, it's like really silly, really funny, really great. Oh, the one downside thing I didn't like really quick about Thee's character, he talked a lot to AI. And I'm not big on the AI thing. I think that's not, I don't think that's something we need to be putting in these series, but I'll get more of that towards the end as well. The only other plotline I guess I could bring up is that they do mention, they do have a whole plotline to do with the fact that Peach and his sister were orphans, because they give back a lot to the orphanage where they were raised because they got to stick together. And then there's this whole subplot of these two other orphan children who are basically being separated a lot. And can I just say the most intense scene, besides the Perth Santa ones where it's like really clear that this dude's abusive, is that one of the kids, it's another brother and sister. So that's why I think Peach and his sister feel very like attached to them, because it's very much them, right? We get a whole scene, like not a whole scene, but there's a plot line where the little girl gets adopted, separated from the brother, and then she gets returned back to the orphanage because the foster family that took her in abused her. And I was like, that's intense. Like, I get why they did it because it's like reflecting what happened to Peach and his sister. But I was like, ugh. But it does end on a happy note. So we do get, to kind of cap all this off, because there's not much left to talk about. Obviously, for those who don't know, although you should if you watch BL, as of last year, Thailand is, I think, was one of the first Asian countries to allow same-sex marriage. And I think one of the best parts about that is that in almost every series that we've gotten so far, a lot of these characters end up getting married. Not every, but like there's a good handful where like you'll see a wedding. So Me and Thee does end on a wedding. And in the last bit, Thee announces that he adopted the siblings. So now they're part of the family. And I thought that was really cute. I will say Peach's wedding outfit was kind of terrible though. He was like in what looked like regular clothes, but they were all white. And I was like, my guy, this could have been better. The proposal was cute. He like sings, he writes a whole song. I didn't listen to it though, because I find musical numbers in non-musical shows kind of like cringe. They had 2 musical numbers in the show, Lilia. They like do the whole soap. You know how in some soap operas you have like these weird dream sequences? He has like a weird daydreaming sequence where he does like a whole musical number. I was so confused. I was like, what the hell? But like, that's kind of really it. I don't know if there's anything else in here to talk about in terms of the main series. I guess before we go into the ranking and before we go into our song of the week, I will mention that this series already has 2 sequel series that have already aired / in the work. So out of the 2 sequel series, one has since been released. It was a short drama, kind of like those ones that you'll watch on TikTok, Instagram that pop up. It was called The and The. This was more of an advertisement for the green tea beverage that's like really popular over there, and then the tech company Canon, because I know their printer was like shown a couple of times. I haven't watched it since it dropped. I think GMM is kind of doing this type of thing with some of their series, because I know Cat for Cash is just dropped one as well recently for, I think it was for like a lotion. I can't remember. I haven't watched it yet, but that we'll get more into when we do Cat for Cash. But basically this was like a 3-part, I think it was like 3 or 4 episodes. Let me see. So this one I haven't watched. It was 6 episodes. I don't have any notes on this one because it's more of an advertisement, but basically it's about, I don't think this is really canon, but it's about the getting trapped into the world of a novel he's writing. Oh my God, that reminds me what I have to mention at the end, but I'll get back to it afterwards. And then he like writing a novel, like very drama series where he and Peach are like the main characters. He's supporting, Peach is like the main character. It's like his own soap opera. And going through that, funny enough, yeah. And then the second series is, I believe it's going to be, so it's since started as of the time of recording this. I believe they have since started script reading and filming, almost about to start filming. It's going to be, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes. It's called Peach and Me, and it's going to feature, I think, like 1 episode about their married life, 1 about Roman and Mock, 1 about Santa's characters, the sister. So very much like, this is what happened after the series end, kind of short form, like epilogue type thing, which I think is something that a lot of people were asking for. So this really blew up. Speaking of blowing up, I forgot to mention, I kind of forgot this happened, but the actual ending before the wedding happens, I forgot there was a post-credit scene at the end of Me and Thee. So good thing we didn't do my rating just yet. But in the post-credit scene, they actually break out the 4th wall, because Peach is like, okay, we've been together for long. What can I give Peach as a gift? He buys the GMMTV company and calls it GMM And I guess this actually happened. They did an event, I think, where they were premiering something to do with the company. This was long before I started watching a lot of GMM shows, I think. Or this happened and I missed it. But Pon comes out as and so does Phuwin as Peach. And they put it in the show. And he basically buys the company. The director of the series shows up because he's like, you're going to direct a series about our love life, our romance story. And then you see a bunch of GMMTV actors around greeting him because he's the new owner of the company. And it was just so silly. So I just thought that was funny. I kind of forgot that happened. And you guys have to watch the reaction video to the end scene. I don't remember which actors guessed. I know Gemini did. And the only reason I know that is because they did a reaction video to the episode PondPhuwin. And then as you watch the final episode, when they get to that scene, you notice that Gemini is sitting behind them, like is hiding behind the couch. And when he pops up, he jumps up screaming, "That's me! Ooh, I'm getting paid for that, right? Because I got screen time." And the director on the side's like, "I'm actually going to cut that so you don't get paid." And I'm like, mood. So I just thought that was silly. I kind of wish, considering how big the series was, I wish GMMTV had played with that a little bit more and like had changed the Instagram and all that and called it GMMTV or whatever. But I guess not. But like, yeah. Or had like ended the series, like when they showed the logo, it should have been the GMMTV the logo. But so yeah, this series was a lot of fun. So rating time? Woo! So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. There were a few plots that I was like, okay, let's get. There's like there was villain after villain after villain. I feel like there was so many. And then I wish we would have had more of a clear understanding of what this whole love rule was. So I feel like it was ever changing. But it was a lot of fun. I have rewatched it a few times and it's great. And I can't wait for Peach and Me. And it's made me want to watch PondPhuwin's other series and Per Santa's. I've already watched William and S's only other series, which was Thaypo. So yeah, 7 out of 10. We really do give a lot of high ratings on this channel. But it's because a lot of these series are really great. There's not really much like negative about them. Maybe we'll do one that's not great soon. But a song of the week. So I'm trying not to do a lot of songs that are in the series, like the OST, because I feel like that's so obvious type thing to do. I wanted to pick something that I felt like I would hear this while watching this, and I'm getting better at it. So for this one, I'm picking 7 by Jungkook. It is like the clean version, if only because that music video reminds me a lot of them. Jungkook in that video is very much the chasing after Peach, and Peach just getting annoyed of how silly V would be in doing all these ridiculous things. I feel like this definitely is a relationship. So I am picking 7, clean version by our boy Cookie. And yeah, so that's the end of this episode. If you were at the PondPhuwin event, whether the one I went to or the second day or LA, I hope you had a great time. I hope you had a great time meeting the boys. I hope the boys had a great time here in New York. I know all of them, not just PondPhuwin, William and S. I know Phuwin had, I hope he got to meet up with his friends and I got like a couple of days to just relax. So, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. All right, guys, that's it for this entry. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. On Twitter, you can find us at FG Diaries Pod. On Tumblr, TikTok, and Instagram, you'll find us at FG Diaries Podcast. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and hope you all have a wonderful fangirly day.